Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Som TV podcast. My name is Jason Wise. Happy Halloween. I hope all of you, your kids have picked out their costumes and everyone's ready for the night. And I hope that you parents have picked out what glass of wine you're going to sneak in your sippy cup while you take them out trick-or-treating. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. I hope all of you have had a chance to go to somtv.com and check out our brand new ghost and wine story, Ghosts of Napa Valley. It was a lot of fun to make, but there's been a lot of questions afterwards. We've been asked kind of, why did Claire want to do this? And why did Meg do what she did during the film? What really scared her so bad? And so we got them together, and the two of them hash out kind of what happened. So following this intro, there's going to be a bit of a spoiler-filled conversation between Claire Coppi and Meghan Zobeck about Ghosts of Napa Valley and the outcome, and also the ghost story that made Claire decide that she was so into this stuff. I also want to remind everybody, there's a lot of new stuff on Som TV. There's a new special on Barbaresco in northern Italy, one of the great red wine regions of the world. There's also a conversation that I have with the president of Bourgogne Wines about what it's like to grow up in Burgundy and the future and past of that region. Really, I learned a lot during that conversation. And we have an amazing thing coming next week. Master Sommelier Jay Fletcher is going to open up some wines from the 1930s, some Burgundies, and that old bottle episode is going to be going live early next week. So stick with us and go to somtv.com to watch all of that. And I want to remind any of you with a Som TV subscription, you can watch this right now on the platform. Any of our apps are at somtv.com. Without further ado, Meghan Zobeck and Claire Coppi discussing what happened and why they wanted to make this film.
So we did something kind of crazy this summer, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the craziest for me.
Yeah. It was all I hoped for and more, but not necessarily in a good way. Because
Well, you're kind of into it, though.
I'm into it. Like,
Yeah.
I've had stuff happen to me, like when I was a kid. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, did I tell you about it at all? Did I tell you and Shakira about it? When I was like a kid.
I don't think you did.
We would go to my great aunt and uncle.
I was wondering what your motivation was behind this, honestly. I was like, why is
What's
Claire
your
so
motivation?
creepily into this?
My family and I would go to my great aunt and uncle's farm out in the middle of like nowhere in Missouri. And it was Civil War era, actually probably earlier on, just like a lot of property. There was this creepy-ass pond that had like all those like willow trees over it and just algae all over the top. This old dilapidated barn. And the house itself just like gave me the frickin' creeps. And there were all these little things that happened while I was there. It felt like the house was like watching me. It didn't want me there. I would be asleep at night in my bedroom and you can hear like floorboards creaking in these houses, right? And I could literally hear like something creaking up the stairs and like down the hall to like the door frame of my room and then stopping. And there was no one there. And it felt like, like you feel something's watching you.
Yeah.
And one time I was like going downstairs to go outside and play with my sister and I swear to God, I felt like something like almost like push me and I fell down the stairs. I love that that's your reaction.
Me out. It just creeps me out.
Yeah, and I remember telling my parents, like, I thought like my sister was up there and pushed me or something. They're like, no, she's outside. They're like, you just need to be more careful walking down these stairs, which I get.
Sounds like a horror film.
There were just a lot of There were a lot of little things that I didn't feel cool with. I've had other little things since then, and I seem to like meet a lot of people in my life that are very empathic and have even more insane things happen to them. So it's always been something that I've believed in.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, I'm perfectly willing to understand the reality, that not everything is spooky or haunted.
Sure.
I don't need to jump to that conclusion.
Yeah.
So when I heard these stories about Chevalier and Miravalle being haunted, I didn't think anything was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then, remember the sounds.
Ugh.
Like, how do you explain that?
Right. Well, it's also like, yeah, God.
How do you explain those sounds?
So I know that your mind fills in a lot of gaps when you can't come up like with explanations for things. But also, if you hear that a place is haunted and several people have said it's haunted, you're not necessarily like, let's go hang out in this place. So,
but you could feel it there, like.
Yeah,
I feel
it was
like
heavy. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, but once I saw the handprints on the banister, I was like,
what are those?
Okay, this is really creepy.
And again, if I saw those, I'd be like, oh, it's just whoever installed like the banisters or whatever. But those rafters were installed in like 1890 and nobody's been able to get up there.
Right,
That's
because
why they can't access
also
those bags.
can't put anything on the floors to like be able to reach that. So that part was like, okay, and now my mind cannot make up a reason why those are there.
Those
and
hanging bags. What are those hanging bags that Keith said just showed up randomly?
Yeah.
I really want to go. I want to find a way to get up there and like take one of them down and see what's in it. I really, really want to.
I don't know if I want to know that or not.
But even just like, the sounds just freak me out because they're so blatant.
Oh,
See what I mean?
No.
No way.
Did you just get that?
What the fuck is that?
Yeah. See what I mean? What's in there doing that? Ugh. Nothing.
Yeah. Oh, that's weird.
I think at one point someone recommended that we would spend the night there, and there's no way I could have done that.
I was
dying to get out of there.
Yes.
I shouldn't say it that way, but like I was like, okay,
that's the new tagline
I've had enough. This is great.
She was dying to get out.
Yeah, I would like to not believe in ghosts still because it's way more comfortable.
Right?
That was super creepy.
I would love somebody to come in and explain it away to me. I've said it many times.
Yeah.
But I just don't. It's such an empty space. All those shutters were like bolted down. Keith locks that place every night.
Right.
Everybody who works there is too freaking afraid. And it's so remote.
Yeah.
Like,
it's also
you
like
can't get up there.
hauntingly gorgeous on the outside. And I don't mean to use the word hauntingly, but like it's like, right, there's like something sad about it. It's also like really beautiful. And you're like, it just feels like there's a lot of sadness. It's like heavy.
Yeah. Like how did it feel for you doing that Ouija board session?
Oh yeah, I was like, so I've never messed with a Ouija board before because they freak my mother out growing up. So like I just never messed with them. And I have a lot of friends that are really freaked out by Ouija boards. So I've just like never messed with them. And then I was like, what are we doing?
Especially one that's like one of the earliest Ouija boards ever produced.
Has like some history. That was kind of creepy. I was like, okay, and if it starts moving, what am I gonna do?
I mean, it was,
I was like, I'm going to follow Shakira because she knows where she's going and I'm going to follow her. She was already ready. She like scouted out the exits. Like she was totally
Which aren't
prepared.
many. Aren't many up there.
Well, no kidding. Yeah. So.
That place just felt, I wouldn't sleep there either.
No. I left.
Yeah.
Part of it was because I was starting Harvest and I was like, I can't mess with this and also do Harvest. And then, but part of it was I was like, is this something I want to find out that I'm wrong about and that all of this really does exist? And I was like, I think this is like the one time where ignorance is bliss. Yeah, but you guys had like a pretty intense session after I left.
Yes, so we didn't do Chevalier again, which I'm kind of fine with. I'd like to do it again, but not yet. No, then we went to Miravalle, which is this gorgeous, like Victorian era mansion that I just would move into in a heartbeat, even if it is haunted. It's stunning.
Yeah.
On this beautiful property. A gentleman named Tiburcio Perot owned it, although it turned out his mother actually owned the land and the house after his death. That was revealed. And he was this kind of old bachelor for most of his life. He was super close friends with the Berenger family.
Okay.
And through the Berenger family, he met this younger woman named Therese and ended up marrying her. And I mean, he was kind of a player. He liked to frequent the brothels in town and stuff. So I don't think they had the happiest marriage necessarily. And also, unbeknownst to her, Tiburcio was racking up what is roughly around like a little over $1 million in debt today.
God. Yeah.
A lot. He owed a lot of people and a lot of family members a lot of money. So after he died, basically the story that I was told at first was that the property was taken away from Therese, his widow now, that she was kicked off the property and not given anything to like make it right for her. She was just kind of kicked off the property. And the idea was that she was so attached to that house that after she passed away, she came back and haunted the place.
Gotcha.
And she seems to have, or this particular spirit has a connection with one of the women who do the wine tastings there. Her name's Kat, and she has said that Therese has like played with her hair a lot, that it's not a malicious, like malevolent thing, but that it's like, she always checks in like, hey, Therese, we're doing tastings today, is that okay? She asked her that one time, and then she said music came on over the speakers that they don't really use anymore.
Okay.
So just like a lot of weird little things.
Yeah.
And so she and I were doing the Ouija board one-on-one because Shakira's like, I don't need to play with that again.
Yeah.
But Shakira volunteered to take notes. And Kat is one of those very like open, empathic people that I think just the combination of her and I doing it, whether you call it gullible or whatnot, just seemed to work.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of action happening that night. We were talking to something that was at least pretending to be Therese.
Therese, will us finding out who this person is help you move on to be at peace? I don't even think she knows.
We poured a glass of wine for her at her bequest. We asked her if she was like okay with us being there. And she said no. But then we're like, do you want us to stop and leave? And she also said no. And then I was like, do you want some wine? And then she said yes. So we poured her some wine, and Shakira swears by this. I didn't see it, but Shakira says she saw the wine ripple at one point, and she like wrote it down in all caps in the book and was like freaking out.
Oh my God.
And so we were supposedly talking to Therese, and we asked her, did you stay? Because you wanted to stay in the house. And she said no. We're like, then why did you stay? And basically what we found out was that whatever the spirit was stayed for someone else who was left behind, basically. And to watch over them. And they just kept doing the initials NM over and over again.
Was there a child?
We asked, you're asking all the questions we asked. We asked, was there a lover? Was there a child?
Right.
This was someone you loved? Yes, but they never like went into details. And then there were, after we closed that session, there were a couple more that we opened up that didn't feel quite nice. And one of them, at one point, Kat has her hands on the planchette, that reader, and her entire arm starts tremoring. And I'm like, is that you? And she's like, no. And so I just immediately closed it up.
Yeah,
there was like a lot of really sketchy shit happening. Shakira was in tears. Kat was like sobbing.
Oh God.
At one point. It was really, really intense.
I am very
really
glad
intense.
I wasn't there.
Oh yeah.
That
it was
sounds
a lot.
Scary.
We left the cameras, the infrared cameras, and the microphones up overnight too. We didn't get as much like sound as.
Really?
We didn't get as much as there was stuff, but it wasn't as blatant as Chevalier.
But sounds really intense.
After everything that happened tonight here at Napa Valley with Kat and Shakira, I really don't think it would be smart for us not to set up audio and the infrared camera here. What?
I don't think it's necessarily smart for us to do that.
We're not going to be here.
I just don't. I'm sorry. Go on.
We're not going to be here with it. We should set it up so that tomorrow in the morning, Alex, you and I, we can look over, not Shakira. We can look over the audio and see if we pick up anything, like maybe we picked up
A party? Are we party crashing?
We're party crashing.
Why?
Maybe.
Why?
Why not?
Well, hashtag why though?
Hashtag it's cool.
Okay.
Have you felt anything residual since?
No, I haven't felt anything residual since.
So it was just in the places.
It was just in the places. I think we did everything, I mean, as respectfully as possible. I'm sure there's some stuff that I missed out since I'm not like super hardcore into it. And I'm sure some people would be like, then why are you even doing this? Which is fair. Yeah, I don't know. And
Do you want to keep dabbling in it?
I don't want to make it a habit.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel pretty good about my
it's like doing certain drugs. Like, I don't need to do it that often, you know? I don't, and especially like those boards, just because they are so old, it's so different than going to Target and getting like a Hasbro Ouija board.
I just feel like if like there are spirits actually watching, they're probably like, you children. Like,
well, that's what
are you doing opening this door?
It felt very, I don't know about you, but like when we were doing that Ouija board session at Chevalier, it felt like very much like that there was something like watching us, but was like, I'm not participating in this.
Yeah, totally. No, it was, I mean, part of it was probably just being freaked out, and especially like once you start seeing things like the handprints and stuff, you're like, what the hell am I doing? But yeah, there was a part where I was like, why am I dabbling in the unknown so much? Like, why am I trying to, I'm like, what am I doing? I mean, of course, I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, what am I opening? Like,
we roped you into this.
Yeah, right.
Well, hopefully not opening up anything.
No, totally. But I think like for me, I'm like, I don't need to do that again. Like that was.
I would be interested in doing Chevalier with Kat. Just because she feels like I was saying, like one of those, like she's very receptive and open to it. So I feel like sometimes with people who are more open to believing in that stuff, more stuff will happen. Again, it might be people saying like, oh, well, you're gullible or like you're making stuff happen. I can tell you I never moved that planchette myself.
Right.
Even if we talk about the subconscious movement that I told you guys about. I don't know. I'd like to try that space again, but at the same time, like even being up in Napa right now, I dread the idea of going back there.
Yeah.
Like I really, especially at night, I do not want to go back into Chevalier.
I don't think I can go back there. Yeah, like I don't know about you, but like when we first got there, I felt like there was kind of this tense energy, and then at some point near the end, it got calm. Did you feel that too?
No.
Like towards the end, like at the like.
I think we were
first
tired.
3/4 of it felt like very like I was actually super freaked out.
Were you?
And then at one point I felt like a calmness, and I was like, "That's weird." And I don't think it was being tired.
You don't think so?
I don't
it felt
know.
like we were very like by the end of it.
But
like,
then
I know
once we
Shakira
left,
was tired.
it was quiet. I don't know, like when we were watching or when we were listening to the sounds, it was quiet for a little while after we left, and then it picked way up again.
It was always it was usually like about 30 minutes after we packed up and left.
Right.
That it would start.
Like I almost feel like if something was really there, it was kind of like, okay, go now.
Yeah.
Like we're not gonna do this
and we
together.
did it on a freaking full moon.
Dude, what were we thinking?
We did it on a full freaking moon.
Like, this is actually good.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, fantastic.
Let's play with
all the things.
A 19th century Ouija board in a very haunted winery with a full moon. Yeah, there's so much that I can't explain. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean that but I don't know. You know how it felt? Did that experience change your mind about it at all?
Oh, I just knew I didn't want to dabble in it anymore.
Which means there's a kernel of belief there then.
Well, sure. Yeah, totally. No, I was like, it was really funny though. I also had like several people, like after the post went out on Instagram, they were like, what are you doing? Touch that thing. What are you doing?
Too late.
Like so many of my friends are like, don't mess with that. Like it was pretty
But again,
funny.
we did it in a pretty respectful, safe way, I think.
Sure. I mean, who knows?
Sure.
I was like, I think like we are respectful people, but we're also like dabbling in something we know nothing about, really.
But my mother did say something that if you believe in the good in the world, you also have to believe in the reverse side of that, right?
Yeah.
Which isn't to say that any of these spirits either are evil.
Right.
Like, I don't think if that little boy is haunting Chevalier, I don't think he's evil. I think he's
totally
trapped.
He's a victim.
Like you said, it's sad.
It is sad. It did feel sad. It
Yeah.
felt sad. It was kind of like...
He's up there playing with a ball all night. Like, that's really sad.
Right. Yeah.
Ugh.
I feel like you've like cracked it open and now you're like, you want to see what's on the other side.
I do. Like, now that you get more and more information, now that there are more breadcrumbs.
Well, it's like a mystery.
Yeah, and that's kind of exciting. I just would rather be watching it instead of living it.
Yeah,
you know?
I just want you to tell me about it.
You gotta come with me. We'll spend the night in Chevalier with the best. No?
I don't know.
I wonder if it would make sounds. Like if those sounds would happen if we were there or not.
I do not want to spend the night there.
No.
Yeah.
I like to think we made a little believer out of you.
No, I don't want to believe. I'm very comfortable not believing. It's so much better on that side.
It is creepy.
I want to thank everybody for listening. Hopefully you had seen Ghosts of Napa Valley before you learned all of that. If not, go to somtv.com and watch it. Again, there's tons and tons of the best education and entertainment content in the culinary world up there. We really appreciate all of you subscribers. And if you love this podcast, please give it a great rating. I want to thank Claire and Meg for stopping by and remind you that you can watch this episode and you can sort of see what they're talking about on SomTV streaming right now. And I want to thank our producer, John Adams. I want to thank everybody who shot this episode, and I want to thank you, the listener. Please be safe and put something nice in that glass when you go trick-or-treating. All right, we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.